What is going on, everybody? So today I'm going to be making a video about dealing with brown algae issues. Now, for those of you who don't know, I work for a company called Technicians and we do aquarium service. And brown algae is probably one of the more common problems that we deal with when a customer comes to us and they're having an issue with their tank. In this video, I'm going to show you guys a tank that we recently restarted. Now, the reason why we restarted the tank was because it had aptasia, it had flatworms, it had hydroids, it had a bunch of different things. And we thought the best option for long-term success with this tank was to restart it. Now, because we restarted the aquarium, we had to go through the whole cycle again and all that stuff. So the first couple of months we had a really bad bloom of brown algae. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys that aquarium right now. And then I'm gonna talk to you guys about how we overcame the diatoms and dinoflagellates and all the other issues that we were having with this tank. So there'll be a before and an after. Check it out.
All right, so this is the customer's aquarium I was referring to, and you can just tell by looking at it, there is some nasty brown slime algae in this aquarium. Terrible. But I'm not worried, and I'm gonna explain to you guys why I'm not worried. Now, we just recently did a restart in this aquarium because previously it had tons of aptasia, tons of flatworms, it had hydroids, it had a bunch of things that were just gnarly, that were just really gross, and that were destroying the tank. And so we decided the best path moving forward was doing a complete tank restart, which means draining the tank. It means, you know, dry rock, everything, just starting completely over. And that's what we did here. So we knew we were going to face some brown algae issues. We knew we were going to go through the ugly stage. Everybody knows you're going to go through this. Did I expect it to be this forceful and this bad? Well, being that we're about the 3 or 4 month period here, yeah, this is normal. This is believe it or not, this is pretty normal if you put your lights on before you probably should. So we have a mix of green hair algae in here and brown algae as well. So we're dealing with two issues at once. The green hair algae, easy enough to get rid of, right? We can dose some stuff, water changes, you can get rid of that. But brown algae is a lot more frustrating. It's a lot more frustrating to deal with. And this tank has got it bad. So even though this tank is about 4 months old at this point, we need to act before this becomes a serious problem. Now, we only have 4 or 5 fish in here, the chromis, so there's not a lot of bioload in here. So the excess nutrient issue should be easy enough to solve because the bioload in this aquarium, the fish load in this tank, is not that much. Which brings us to being able to test the water. So we've tested the aquarium, and especially new tanks like this that are like I'd say anything below 6 months old, you know that there's probably a nutrient deficiency unless you heavily stock your tank all of a sudden. But if you're taking it slow as far as stocking fish, most likely there's a nutrient deficiency. And that's what's going on here. The nitrates are bottomed out. They are 0. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have the customer start dosing nitrate directly to the aquarium. Now, I know a lot of people, in order to get the nitrate up, they'll feed more, or they'll add more fish, or add more, stuff to the tank. But for me, I like, if you're trying to raise your nitrates, just dose nitrate directly to the aquarium. Then you don't have to worry about getting extra phosphates in the tank and extra nutrients that are just going to go to waste, that are just going to take you from brown algae to green algae. So if you're having an issue with brown algae, just dose nitrate directly to the aquarium. Don't feed more. That's just going to give you green hair algae after the brown algae. So what we're doing right now is we're going to start dosing nitrate, and we'd like to get those nitrates up eventually over the course of a couple of weeks to about 5. The other thing I did was add a little bit of secret sauce. This is our live bacteria from our coral quarantine tank. So I'm gonna go ahead and add this directly to the tank, to the sump area. And this way I know that there's nothing bad going in the tank, nothing that can hurt the tank, but we still get that live beneficial bacteria. So I'm very happy about that. Now, as far as the hair algae, I got some fluconazole, that I'm gonna dose in the aquarium. That should wipe that hair algae, no problem. Plus, I also added some copepods to the tank that we had at the shop too. And some cleanup crew, some Monet cowries right here. These guys are awesome at cleaning up the aquarium. They do way better than turbo snails, and they live a lot longer, and they seem to do better in aquariums. Do a great job. So this is about the 4 month period. We're 2 weeks away from our next visit. So remember what this tank looks like, because the next time we come back in 2 weeks, in a matter of 2 weeks, check this out. Here we are, guys, 2 weeks later from the last visit. Remember how bad the tank looked before? This is what it looks like 2 weeks after. This is by getting the nitrates up At this point, they're about 4. This is by using the medication to knock out that hair algae, the fluconazole to knock out that hair algae, which it did an amazing job. There's a little bit of peach fuzz on the rocks, but the rocks look way healthier. Adding some bit of copepods, and then adding that live bacteria that really help establish this aquarium. And I mean, we are on our way to a really good looking tank here. But if you look closely at the rocks, you can see that there is still some green hair algae growing on there. Now the rocks look clean from far away, but when you get up close, you can see there's pockets of hair algae. There's still pockets of brown algae, so we're not out of the woods yet. This is still a work in progress. And because of the mass die-off of all the different algae and stuff, there's tons of detritus. So if you look underneath this rock right here, there's a bunch of dead organic material right there, which could easily just go right back into the tank and cause a problem. The other thing we did was shorten that photo period. We brought that photo period way back from 12 hours to about 6 hours. So the photo period is like half as long as it was before. And here we are another 2 weeks later. This is where the tank stands as of now, the last video that I took. And I couldn't be happier with the way, the direction this tank is taking. We have not gone backwards. We've made progress every time we've been here. We are here twice a month. And look at the rocks, completely clean. And we're even starting to get coralline algae growth on the rocks and on some of the acrylic and then glass in the tank. Now, there are some detritus, there's some dead organics again, but you know, gonna do a big water change and we can suck all that out, no problem. But we've definitely made some major progress. I don't see any brown algae in the aquarium, no diatoms, no dinoflagellates, nothing. It's looking great. Now I'm gonna continue to dose the bacteria. I think I'm good on the copepods. I kind of went through the filtration. There's a decent amount of copepods in here. There's a decent amount of life that's in this tank, but the fact that we're getting coralline algae growth, I mean, compared to where we were before, like all on the walls now, like this is huge. So this whole process was just like, you know, a matter of a month, just letting the tank mature and just giving it what it needs, and it looks great. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a water change right now, a little 50% water change on this tank, and let's keep it going. So when I do a water change on a tank like this, because we just, we dose the fluconazole to kill the hair algae, and because a lot of that brown algae kind of broke down, there's excess nutrients in here, and we want to get that out as much as possible. All those dead organics in here, I want to get them out. Also, those little Monet cowries right there, terrific job. I highly recommend Monet cowries. Forget the turbo snails, forget all the other things. Monet cowries are where it's at. We got about 5 of them in here, and they've just done a tremendous job keeping this tank sparkling, like clean. The glass is even clean. Like there's not even brown algae on the glass. They've done an amazing job. Highly recommend those snails. But today, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna focus on just getting a lot of that broken down organics out of the aquarium, so it doesn't become a problem later on and cause more algae down the road. So what I'm gonna do now is focus on gravel vacuuming in all these little hard to reach areas and just suck out as much of that organic waste as possible so we don't have any hair algae issues. And just doing a very light stir of the gravel, nothing too major, just enough to get out, really surgical, just enough to get out what we need to get out. The idea here is to not do a water change that's too massive. We'll probably do 25% of the water volume. We want to keep those water changes minimal and let the tank mature and get established without disturbing it too much. When you do those big water changes, you're not only stripping the water of nitrate, but you're also stripping it of beneficial bacterias and copepods and all those good things that got us to this point where the tank looks so good. So like I said, we're gonna go into the hard to reach spots and we're gonna get out as much gunk as possible, but then I'm gonna keep the water changes real chill for now. And that's about all I'm gonna do on this tank. So as of right now, I'm super happy with the way this looks. Now like I said, it's not over yet. We're still gonna fight a battle, but I'm able to I got a little anemone in there now. I got a couple coral frags in there. We're able to put coral in here, and that's what I'm really excited about, is we can actually start making this tank look good. And a top-down view, I mean, it's beautiful. It looks great. And now we get to enjoy the tank. We're gonna add more fish. We're gonna add tons of coral. And, we're gonna stay on top of it and fight that brown algae, make sure it doesn't come back again.
So there you go. I'm really happy with the way the aquarium looks right now. I think it's coming along nicely. We got rid of all the brown algae, that the rocks look really clean, but that does not mean that we're out of the woods yet. We just won the battle for now, but you know, there's still a war to be fought. Brown algae can come back really, really quickly if we're not on our game. So I think dosing the bacteria, adding some copepods, adding biodiversity, shortening the photo period, upping the nitrate, I think for sure was the key to getting rid of the brown algae. But the idea is to just tip the scales in our favor, give us a little bit of time, and give the tank some time to mature, the rock to cure, the sand to cure, and you know, I think we'll be okay in the long run. The good news is the tank is now ready for coral, so I'm gonna start putting coral in the tank. That's also gonna help add more biodiversity to the tank, and those corals are also gonna take up some of those excess nutrients. We're definitely heading in the right direction, and I know the customer is really happy to finally get coral in the tank. I'll definitely keep you guys posted on how this tank's doing. I'm gonna be doing a video with tank niches pretty soon, a more in-depth video about brown algae issues and our experience dealing with them. So stay tuned for that. Till then, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one.